What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here, former D1 defensive back. We're going to go over some wide receiver versus DB tips, or some one-on-one tips, more specifically leverage, our divider rules, how and why we choose certain leverages, and then give you some basic tips on how to win your one-on-ones. I will say I do not own the rights to this video. These Nike openings used to be like the main thing you wanted to get invited to, and it's crazy because you'll see a lot of these guys are in the NFL, and I actually do a online DB mentorship where we go over this and help you kind of get better online. So I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in that service. But as you can see, a lot of these guys are $1 million players in the NFL, and their high school technique is borderline horrible. So that should tell you guys, these 5-star guys, a lot of times they're just getting recruited off of their elite talent. And then you go to these places like Oregon, Alabama, and then you learn technique from Nick Saban, Demetrius Martin, and then you become an NFL prospect. So if you want to learn NFL technique, D1 technique at the high school level, so you don't look sloppy in your one-on-ones, you look like a finished product, make sure you go check out our DB Mastery program. I'll put the link in the description. So we talked about leverage. All right. So leverage, if you can just win to your leverage, line up in the right leverage and win to your leverage, you'll win, I would say, 70% of your one-on-ones if you just protect your leverage. Okay. So to help you with leverage and help you win more one-on-ones, you have to know your divider rules. So I didn't make the divider rules. I don't know who made divider rules. They've been around forever, but I explain this in more detail in my DB Mastery program. But for the sake of this video, the ball is in the middle of the field in these one-on-ones. So our divider rule, all right, or our divider, I would say, is 1 yard on top of the numbers. That basically means, so this little pointer right here is going to be a receiver. So if that receiver lines up inside this divider, so if he lines up, let's say 2 yards on top of the numbers, we would be outside leverage. Anything on the outside of the divider, all right, so if he lines up at the top of the numbers, in the middle of the numbers, at the bottom of the numbers, based on that ball being in the middle of the field, we will go inside leverage. All right. So again, if he's on the divider, I would say still be inside leverage. If he's inside the divider, so if he's in, we would be out. If he's outside of the divider, we will be in. All right. So that's going to dictate our leverage for the rest of this video. Let's figure out how many routes are they running to leverage. So again, if we're winning to our if we pick the correct leverage and we're winning to our leverage and we just protect our leverage, how many of these routes will we win? So we should be inside leverage, protecting the inside, high probability of an in breaking route. Inside release, I suggest get into that hip, that low hip, especially with this heavy inside stem, so that if he does break inside, we can get under. Or if we are hip to hip, not low hip, we could play high shoulder in breaking route. Our divider, remember our divider's out here. He is inside of that divider, which means we need to be outside leverage. And my suggestion, guys, whenever you're playing man in the slot, you should be outside leverage. Heavy probability of an out breaking route, speed out, 5 and out, the wheel route, the deep out, the corner route, the slot fade. All right, outside leverage, outside release, out breaking route. If we just protect our outside leverage, look where he caught the ball. He caught the ball toe tap. All right. And we're at the wrong leverage. We have bad eyes, bad technique. Boom. Just imagine if we just were a little disciplined here. All right. He's outside our divider. We should be inside leverage. We're way too high. We're way too high. All right. Amari Rogers, he went to Clemson, I believe. He played in the league for a little bit. I don't know if he's still in the league, but look at the technique, guys. This is not what we want to do. We want to stay square. We don't want to pop up, stay low, have good eyes. Don't cross over. Everything about this is wrong. But, all right, we're inside leverage. He releases the outside. But if we protect our inside leverage, if we just drive from the inside, we can make a play on this ball. We should be, I would say, if that ball is still in the middle of the field, I would still say we would be inside leverage. Outside release, wide outside release. So we got to be ready for some type of comeback, some type of fade. He runs a post. There's a reason why you don't run a post from, there's a reason why coaches will not teach you to speed release outside to try to run back over the top for a post. I'm not even going to get into that. But we definitely don't want to open the gate here. But this is not the way you're supposed to run a post. Trust me. Big tight end type, we should be outside leverage. We should be working the scooch technique. If you want to learn the scooch technique, make sure you go download my DB Mastery program. Out breaking route. Bad footwork because we don't want to pedal out of there. He's not faster than us, and we want to scooch. It allows us to stay tight, wait for the break point. He's got to break at, no longer than 10 yards. All right, breaks 10 to, I should say 10 to 12, but yeah, just be outside leverage here. All right, we get a fade again from inside leverage. We can squeeze that fade. There's like 3 yards between him and the sideline. Even though we open the gate right away, we open the gate. All right, he's widening himself to the sideline. Once these guys get to college, they'll understand that you got to get on the red line. You got to save some space so that your quarterback will have room to throw you open. He squeezes himself to the sideline here. I'm not sure what happens with the ball. Again, we should be outside leverage here. This is actually, I think both of these guys are in the NFL. I remember the name Jalen Reagor sounds familiar. I know Deommodore Lenoir just signed a big contract with the 49ers, but look at his technique now compared to what he's doing, or look at his technique back then in high school compared to what he's doing now. Should be outside leverage. All right, for outside leverage, scooching, we should be tighter to him here, and we can make a play on that upfield shoulder on this route. Again, guys, based on our divider, he's right on the hash. We should be outside leverage. I'm not sure if we are or not. We should be scooching, especially versus a long strider tight end type. Imagine if we're outside leverage and we protect our outside leverage. So guys, I'm just going to let this play. Okay. Based on leverage, we should have won 100% of these routes. If we pick the correct leverage and we protect our leverage, we should be winning 100% of these routes. Devontae Smith, we're inside leverage here. DB looks like he has his eyes locked in. Go within a motor technique. All right, we stay on top of the outside release. Good job here. Not sure if that's a flag or whatever, but this is pretty good. This is pretty good technique. This is pretty good technique, I would say, initially. I'm not sure if this is just a horrible route or if we hold them. It looks more like a horrible route. I'm not going to lie. All right, we should be outside leverage. All right. Tight split, outside leverage, outside release, out breaking route. Oh, we get the wheel. All right. You see how even him getting outside, you see how wide this wheel has to get. He's basically already, look at that. He's already a step from the sideline. I think he actually works out of bounds, but just imagine if we just protected leverage, this would be even wider. He would have no chance at this. Not much to say about that one. I don't really like this. You got to be strategic, and this is Jerry Jeudy, by the way, but you got to be strategic. I'm not saying you can't do this, jump a guy at the line of scrimmage, but if this is all you're doing, if you're not playing with technique, a good receiver, he's going to be able to anticipate that just by you being so close to the line of scrimmage. So we go with the fake jam here. All right. Once we see that the receiver has stepped back, you got to get back to balance. You got to get back to being square. So let's see if his feet get back to being square. All right. I would say they are back to being square. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to kick slide, not cross over. Let's see what happens. We cross over. All right, so now the receiver's controlling the route, because even though we kind of delayed his release a little bit, he was able to release freely in a vertical line. He controls the route now. Too much grabbing. It's crazy because Nico Collins is hands down one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. We should be inside leverage. Again, in our DB Mastery program, I'll teach you guys how to stay square at the line of scrimmage. I don't like that we open our hip. I don't like that we open our hips. Allow the receiver to control this route. We're grabbing. Bad overall. And you can tell a lot of these guys haven't been taught, or they're just undisciplined, because you know, when you get close like this and then you just turn and open, it kind of defeats the purpose. And I mean, this will work sometimes, but this just isn't going to cut it at whatever level these guys are going to go to next. Good finish though. So even though we do get so remember, this is tight end, even though he is tight to the ball and we're outside leverage, once we get this heavy inside stem, right? So he's literally angling to the other side of the field. We should be able to slide, shuffle, and then we want to work to get under this, because a big tight end is going to box you out if you try to go high shoulder. So I will be trying to work to get under this right here. You see these guys do this all the time. You get up here. For the most part, you're probably offsides. You're probably in the neutral zone. That looks like AJ Terrell, by the way. That probably is AJ Terrell. There's a lot of future stars here. And he's looking to jam right away. All right, we throw a jam. So the thing that he already has done wrong is that he brought his hands, but he didn't bring his feet. All right. So you see how his hands are outside of the frame of his feet. All right. You never want your feet to be behind your hands. All right. You got to bring your hands and your feet. So we should be throwing and stepping. All right. It kind of does. Throw. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. That's really not bad compared to what we've been seeing. But once he works back inside, I would love for us to kind of stay square and at minimum be right on his upfield shoulder. Again, guys, big tight end type. He's inside our divider, which means we should be outside leverage, scooch stepping, trying to play catch technique. We get an outbreaking route. So I'm done with this. I hope you guys have kind of gotten the point. The whole point of this is that, one, leverage, finding the right leverage, protecting the leverage. You'll win at least, at minimum, 70% of your one-on-ones, which I think is a great percentage. Two, these guys, oh wow, Patrick Surtain and Devontae Smith. These guys are some of the top guys at their position. Both went to Alabama. Patrick Surtain is one of the best. All right, you can tell he's been taught. He's going to throw his hand. He's going to stay square. All right, we get hands on. We kind of make the receiver stumble out of the release. We do a good job of trying to stay with him here, trying to stay hip to hip. This is clean. This is literally the best rep I've seen, and it's no coincidence. Guys, like, his dad played in the NFL. He's teaching him at a young age. If you want to be elite, you have got to have an elite trainer, or you've got to get the DB Mastery program. I'm telling you guys, if you don't learn these techniques right now, you're going to be behind, because there's guys who are getting this knowledge for free because their dad played in the NFL. They played D1. They played this. All right. So that's why those guys in Florida and the South are so much more advanced than the guys in the North, because All those NFL guys are coming back and pouring into the community. Pastor Surtain, is there any coincidence that the one DB I've been talking for almost 10 minutes now? Is there any coincidence that the one DB that has good technique happens to be Pastor Surtain, who happens to have a dad who played in the NFL? All right, so I'm gonna leave it with that, guys. Yeah, so these guys weren't finished products, polished products. You can tell that, they were all raw. Most of them were raw before they went to where they went. They learned some technique. They got better. They got bigger. They got stronger, more disciplined. And now they're in the NFL. All right. So wherever you are, however old you are, you're not a finished product. Continue to learn, continue to seek knowledge, continue to be coachable. You will greatly increase your chances at being where you want to be at the next level in college.